Hi, everybody. Happy Monday. How's everybody doing? How has the start of your week been? Hello to all the people who are watching on replay, because I have just sent out the messenger bot. It's just actually arrived in your inbox if you've subscribed. So I shall just give it a minute for some people to jump on. But for those of you that are watching on the replay, tell me about your weekend. It's brilliant. If you just comment hashtag replay in underneath the post, then it notifies me later so I can go back in and read your comments. So if you've got any questions or comments, please do that. So let's talk about let me just check that I'm in the right place. Yes, I am. That's fine. Let's talk about your identity. So, would you define yourself? If I were to ask you to define yourself, would you define yourself as a side hustler? Is that one of the things that you would put in a description of yourself? And if not, then why not? Because when you are embracing change in life, the very first step of embracing that change is to embrace your identity, or what you believe about yourself, before you can actually make those changes. And it's one of the things that we work on in the Happy Side Hustle Mastermind program. And I'm just going to add in some additional resources to that program, because what I have discovered running the mastermind over the last year, it has been a year now, is, hello, Debbie. It was very quiet there. I was thinking, oh, am I going live in the right place? But you're here, Debbie, so yay. So Debbie, just talking about identity. So you have to, the first step in making any changes, like having a happy side hustle, is to make sure that you define yourself as someone who has a side hustle before you actually set up and before you really get your side hustle to be successful. And I remember exactly when this happened for me, because I think before you've had a side hustle or a business or any change that you make in life, before it happens to you or you create it, should I say, you have to be able to, the first stage is to be open to the possibility that it's something that you could do. And I remember when I set up so past the fingers gloves stage as a teenager, because that sort of happened by accident, that side hustle. But for my first proper side hustle, where I took all the steps that I teach in the mastermind, that was for keepstakes, so the personalized garden plaques that I used to sell. And I remember, hello, Angela. Yay, thanks for joining us. I remember that so this all came about when I was, I'm trying to think if it happened when I was pregnant, but definitely when I was on maternity leave. I probably did start thinking about it when I was pregnant, because immediately that's when I thought, right, I don't want to go back to working 5 days a week, because I'm going to have, I had 2 young children fairly in quick succession. So nursery fees were just a total nightmare. But also I didn't want to have kids and then go back to work 5 days a week to just pay a nursery, although everybody's different. And so sometimes that's a necessity. Anyway, it started me thinking, because at that point I had a proper career, and so I was working my way up a corporate ladder. I was worried about taking maternity leave because it was going to not halt my career, that's unfair, but certainly it was going to, for all the reasons why women have an unfair disadvantage, or certainly used to. I think times are changing now, but this was 17 years ago. I knew that by taking time out and not being able to go for promotions and whatever in the period where my mind was just, all around the toddlers that were going on in my house, that it was going to impact my career. So I decided that I wanted to take my destiny into my own hands, really, and try and generate money in a way that was flexible and in a way that worked around my children. And that's where the whole kind of side hustle idea came from. But at that point, I literally didn't know anybody who had a side hustle. The only people I knew, because of the world that I moved in, were people who had corporate careers. That was it. Like, I didn't, trying to think. Yeah, everybody had a job. Like, I didn't know anybody that had their own business. Nobody. Trying to think. No, I just, or maybe I knew the odd person, but maybe it was like, maybe I knew like a joiner or something. So it wasn't anything where I could see myself going, oh, that's the sort of business that I would be able to run. So after I had my first child, I went along to NCT classes, and I think NCT are still around. Yeah, absolutely, Debbie. Couldn't agree more. Anyway, the lady that ran the NCT classes locally to me was just so lovely. Like, oh, she's just one of these. Oh, I've been so lucky to meet loads of people like this in my life. She's just a really positive, warm, loving, incredibly strong, just amazing person. Anyway, she phoned. I had done NCT antenatal classes. I think I've got that the wrong around. Antenatal and then postnatal. Yeah, antenatal classes. So after I had my baby, my first baby, this lovely lady Laura had phoned me to say, I'm just checking if you've had your baby and whatever. And she said, oh, we have a get together. And at that point, it was going around people's houses. I think ultimately ended up in a church hall. But she said, why don't you come along? And I didn't know anybody locally, because we'd bought a house like outside Edinburgh, because we couldn't afford to buy a house like in the centre of Edinburgh. So we'd moved to this community. Hi, Karen. But we didn't know anyone. And because we both, myself and my husband, were both working in like corporate jobs, we drove from our house to our workplaces, and then we kind of went out with our workmates in Edinburgh, and then we got a taxi generally back to our house. And then the next day we went into work again. So we just didn't really meet anybody locally. We sort of knew who our neighbours were, but that was about it. Anyway, this lovely lady Laura phoned and said, look, I'd kind of gone, oh, I don't know, because I don't really know you. I don't know anything about you. And she's like, you need to do this, because when you've got a child, the easiest thing in the world is to just not get dressed, and just like your routine just goes all over the place. She's like, I highly recommend that you just try and grab a shower, come along and just speak to people who have got the same challenges as you. So I did, and not really knowing. In fact, I knew one person. Oh, actually, my friend, pretty much my best friend now. I met her at antenatal classes, so she came along as well. So it was the two of us, and we didn't know anybody else. And Laura was just so welcoming and so lovely. And Laura had a slightly older baby, so she was like, as a first-time mum, she was so wise, like so wise. She was amazing. Anyway, I say was amazing. She's still alive, but she has emigrated to Australia. So I feel like she's not in my life so much anymore. But anyway, she's still amazing over there. She's amazing, the other half of the world. So what I quickly discovered was, so I'm there with baby brain and, like all this kind of, new mum anxiety, really, because no one knows what they're doing. There's no manual that comes with your baby. And Laura was so calming and just so like understanding, really. She was amazing. Anyway, the brilliant thing that I quickly discovered about Laura was that she ran her own business. She made baby slings. I'm like, wow, okay. So that's a thing. And she was so like generous with her advice as well. So she was just one of these people where I was saying to her, oh, how do you do that? And how did you? And she's like, oh, these are the resources that I use, blah, blah. Anyway, I remember coming home from Laura's house that night and saying to my husband, I'm going to set up my own business, I think. And he's like, okay, what are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I am going to set up my own business. And it was just my identity changed when I realized that someone like me, and I would be lucky to be like Laura, to be fair, but at that time it felt we were in the same sort of social circle, and we're in a similar position because our children were similar ages. But someone like me had set up their own business and was making money around her children, like while still being around her children. And this kind of, I mulled this over for probably a few months because I was really busy because new baby and all that. And I remember then plucking up the courage, because I sort of felt like I didn't really want to, Laura had done a lot of work to get to where she was in her business. And I felt like I might, like if I were to say to her, Laura, how did you find out about business insurance? And how did you find out about, so she made baby slings. So it's like, how did you find out about how to get those, properly certified and all those things that Laura had spent a lot of time finding out herself? I felt like, hi Marina, hi Tracy. I felt like if I were to ask her those things, it would be like, she might say, well, you need to find that out yourself because I've spent a lot of time. Why should I just tell you? Now, when I got to know Laura better, I realized she would never do that, but I did feel uncomfortable about it. And one night I said to her, Laura, could I possibly take you out for dinner and just have a little bit of a chat about an idea I've had about a business? And she's like, yes, totally, buy me food and I will tell you whatever you want. And I remember exactly where we went for dinner, and I was like really reluctant to bring it up because I felt like, I felt really awkward and uncomfortable because I didn't want her to think that I was expecting her to give me some free advice. That's kind of where I was. Anyway, we had a really good conversation. She was really generous with her information. She didn't know everything. Of course, it was a different business. So I was thinking about this as the point where I was thinking about the tree plaques. But she gave me some great resources to get me started and pointed me in the right direction. And I came back from that dinner and I had moved from the possibility of maybe having a side hustle to, I can do this because Laura can do this. And if Laura can do this, I can do this because she just discovered how to do it and she did it. So my identity, a year previously, if you had said to me, you're the sort of person that would have a side hustle or their own business, I would have gone, I don't think that's me. Things changed when I changed my perception about myself. Hi, Jerby. So it starts with that whole identity. It starts at an identity level. You can be doing all the things to progress your side hustle, but you'll come up with block after block after block if you don't identify as somebody who has a successful side hustle. So I want you to really ponder this yourself and think, if somebody were to ask you to describe yourself, would having your side hustle be part of your identity? If someone says to you, oh, tell me a bit about yourself, you would go, well, my name's Julie and I work for this company. Like, that's one of the things you would say. And I run a business doing this. Would you say that? Would you say that? Does that feel comfortable coming out of your mouth? I met a good friend a couple of weeks ago in the supermarket, and she's just set up her own business. She's doing personal training, and she's just an absolute advocate for it. She's just incredibly fit. She's such an amazing, she's just like, again, she's just such an amazing energy. She's such a lovely, lovely woman. And I was asking how it was going, and she said, oh yeah, it's fine. I've got like a couple of clients, but I really want to build it. And I'm like, well, get yourself all over social media. And she's like, oh, I don't know, Phil. And for me, it was because it felt like it was so new for her. She wasn't really identifying as her new career. So she was just feeling a bit awkward about it. And she'll get there. She'll absolutely get there because she's amazing. But it's the mindset. It's pretty much always the mindset. So you need to know the practical steps to take, but it's the mindset stuff that starts the wobbles. It's the mindset stuff that makes people go, oh, I can't really get any further. I'll procrastinate. I'll put this off. I'll maybe kind of come back to this in the future. And it generally starts with identity. So what I want you to practice this week for me is saying, my name is X and I have this business. Say it out loud, tell it to people. When people ask you what you've been up to in lockdown, say, oh, I started a business. Let me tell you about it. and just see how comfortable that feels for you, because that should feel completely comfortable. And if it doesn't, you need to practice it. 21 times of practice, roughly, and something starts to feel more comfortable, it becomes a habit. If you feel uncomfortable saying out loud what your side hustle is, you are going to struggle to have a successful side hustle, because you need to own that in your identity. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense to you. I was just thinking about this today because I went out for lunch with a friend, and she asked me that very question, because I've seen her virtually over lockdown, but we haven't been out together and we haven't seen each other face to face. It was really, really lovely to see her. And she was saying, so what have you been up to? And I'm like, well, and normally, and this, I felt this was very telling for me. Normally I would start with my day job and I would say, well, this is what's going on with my training. This is what's going on with my business psychology and my coaching. But I didn't. I started with this. I started with Happy Side Hustle because my time has been freed up from my day job during lockdown. I've had so much more time to think and craft and add things into the groups and to the mastermind, and have a think about how I can make it an even better offering. So it's become my identity now, whereas before, I still have side hustles, as in I still have my personalized jewelry, I still have my personalized prints, but I am sensing in my identity that Happy Side Hustle is shifting over to my day job, my main thing, which I'm so happy about. But it's only today I noticed that shift in identity, and that just feels really, really powerful. Yeah, absolutely, Debbie, you can't be successful if you hide. You can't. And we need to stop worrying about the judgment, don't we? Because when I've been talking to people about this, that's normally what comes up next, isn't it? And I've already talked for too long. I won't go on into that now. We'll talk about that another time. Thanks, Angela. But yeah, it's shift your identity, and you will know if this is something that you need to work on the next time someone asks you what you do. And you can talk about your day job, for those of you that have a day job, but you need to practice adding in, but I am super good at Happy Side Hustlers. Debbie, I just love the people that come into my world and stay in my world. Some people come in and go, oh, no, it's not for me. And that's totally fine. But for the people that come in, like you guys who are all here and stay here, it just absolutely fills me with energy to come and hang out with you. It's just amazing. I feel so grateful. So grateful. And on that note, my next 5-day Find Your Perfect Side Hustle challenge that I think everybody on here has already done starts in less than 2 weeks now. Well, 2 weeks today, 31st of August. You're all invited back if you would like to. It will be the same tasks, although most of you know that Jervay, you're here for good. Yeah, that makes my heart sing, Jervay. So yeah, the 5-day challenge, it'll be the same task, although the Monday task has changed. So for those of you who were in the last 5-day challenge, you might have done the additional task because I put it as an additional task. Not everybody did, but for anyone that wasn't on the last 5-day challenge, which was 6 weeks ago, for anyone that was on any before that, so it was in July, if you were on the one in March or the one in January or October or whatever last year, you won't have done the first task. So there's something new in there for you if you wanted to re-go through the 5-day challenge. As you know, the lives at night are, although I'll generally have a bit of a spiel on them, and you probably will have heard a lot of the stuff that I say before, they're very much driven by the questions that come out through the day and whoever's attracted into the group. So I just wanted to say you're all so super welcome to redo the challenge if that feels of any benefit to you. Also, if anybody is kind of changing their mind about their side hustle, or anybody's kind of gone off and maybe tried to start one or hasn't, or is kind of stalled at the first gate of their side hustle, and you want to start again and try and come up with a different idea, or even come on and ask me all the questions that you have about why it might not have worked, or whatever's happened for you, you're very, very welcome. You just want to go out and drink wine in the evenings and see everybody. It's Debbie. Cannot tell you how excited I am about doing it. Honestly, if it wasn't overkill, I would do them every few weeks. But what I do is I do them kind of at the end of every block of the mastermind. So the week that I'm doing it is the last week of the mastermind program for the last people that have come in. Of course, everybody in the mastermind is in for a year, so they can just keep going back around it. But it means when I bring people in, I'm bringing them all in at the same point, so they can all kind of go through the program together and support each other. So Louise, I could do it again with my bake shop, even though it's not really a side hustle, more of a main hustle. But now we are that wee bit closer. Sarah Louise, you are more than welcome. You are more than welcome. Yeah, the social side of it is the best. And as I say, you guys are here because you're really high vibe and positive, and of course not always, and I'm not always either, but you're attracted to that. That is what I'm endeavoring to bring in, another group of women. If I could just clone all of you that are on this live with me and fill the challenge with those people. Oh, the hairs are standing up in the back of my neck. That is what my Facebook ads are going to try to attract. I always get a little bit of a mixture at the beginning, but those are the people who don't resonate with the rest of us and don't, aren't taken by the kind of joy in things or whatever. And of course, people are all different. They just tend to kind of tune in for the first live and then we never see them again. And that's absolutely fine. You could do me a favor, guys, if you wouldn't mind. And I've put the link to the next challenge. As I say, it starts on the 31st of August. It's 5 days, as you know. I've put the link in with this post. It should be, I can't remember if it's above or below. Thanks. Anyway, you'll see it with this video. If you wouldn't mind sharing that on your social media or with any friends that you think might benefit from a bit of happiness and a side hustle, and you know the script, you know what it is. So if you know anybody else that you think might enjoy that and might be happy to come and drink wine with us every night, then let's do it. Let's do it. Although thank you in the Pringles. Yeah, exactly. I know, where has the time gone? Oh, Jorbe, thank you so much. Yeah, that's really, really kind of you. If anybody, there's no obligation to do this whatsoever, but if you wouldn't mind sharing it anywhere and just maybe putting in like a couple lines to say why you think it was good, if you did think it was good, I'd be so super grateful, because the more people I can get in and the more people I can bring into our world, the more energy there is in the group for everybody and the more support there is, but also the closer I am to sort of making this my day job. And then when it is my day job, I can absolutely dedicate so much more time to it. So yeah, it would be so amazing if you can help me with that. I would really appreciate it. So, but back to today's message, just check out your identity. Make sure you are identifying as a side hustler. Make sure you are talking about your business when people ask about you. And if it feels uncomfortable in any way, feel the fear and do it anyway. Start safely. Start by talking to your family, your friends, to anybody who's supportive to you. But ultimately, you want to be making sure that if anybody asks you how you're doing, what you've been up to, you feel comfortable to talk about your side hustle in the same way as you would talk about your career, your job, or anything, your family, whatever. Okay. Thank you for tuning in today. Thank you everybody for coming along to join me. It's pretty much the dream team along here tonight. So I really appreciate you all taking time out to come along and join me. And thanks to anybody that's watching this on replay as well. I will be back on Thursday night. So let me see what Sarah Louise said. 5-day challenge I did in May changed my outlook completely. It came at just the right time for me. I changed from a dreary procrastinator into a happy action taker. And those steps are small. I'm enjoying it. Oh, Sarah Louise. That's amazing. That's amazing. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. If you wouldn't mind sharing those words or similar on your social media with the link, I would be so, so, so grateful. You are feeling the fear, the rest should be a piece of cake. Exactly. Feel the fear and do it anyway, Marina. Fear means you are pushing out of your comfort zone, and that is a good thing. When you get into absolute panic mode, you can stop, but a little bit of fear, a little bit of butterflies, a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of discomfort is how we all grow. And I am here to support you, to hold your hand. If anything, if you talk to someone about your business and they say, that's a ridiculous idea, come straight back into the group and tell me, and I will boost you back up again, as will everybody else, as you know. It's just so blessed to have such an incredible group of people kind of gathered here. So thank you everybody for your part in that. Please help me to share the next 5-day challenge, and I will see you on Thursday night. Take care, everybody. Bye.